And one of the example is Hassan Piker. He went to China for 2 weeks and come back a Chinese, now leading the China magazine on the social media.
Yes. Hey. You made it onto the China Maxing story on Fox News? Yeah, I heard. We'll get started on China Maxing first, and then we'll get to the news.
Ways and Means Committee holding a hearing to look into claims that foreign actors may be secretly influencing U.S. nonprofits. A report alleging that the far-left group Democratic Socialists of America has foreign ties that are working to undermine federal authorities under the guise of protests, saying they found, quote, the DSA's rhetoric matches the anti-U.S. propaganda.
This is so funny. It's like, yeah, it's because the anti-U.S. propaganda coming from foreign adversaries is correct. It's not anti-U.S. propaganda. It's just correct. Like, for example, when, I don't know, the Chinese government or the Russian government, regardless of their own personal moral infallibility or whatever aside, right? Like, they're not obviously infallible. But like when they actually adequately address some of the issues that are taking place in America, that's not propaganda. That's just a reflection of reality. And it's ironic because a lot of people don't know this, but back in the day, during the civil rights struggle in the United States of America, the USSR would boost a lot of protests. The USSR would routinely talk about the instability in the country and talk about how, you know, the American government was actually mistreating black people and brown people. And this would be reflected in their propaganda. This would be reflected in the state materials that were being released. The reality of the matter is, it's just the truth. It's not like you can say this is commie propaganda or whatever, but it also happens to be the truth. The solution to that from like a national security standpoint is not to just complain that this is propaganda, but actually to address it so that foreign adversaries can no longer use this as a dunk on us, you know? Fidel Castro visited Harlem, met with Malcolm X. These are things that happen throughout our history. Does this mean that like the civil rights struggle was incorrect? No, it was correct. In any case, let's continue.
Of foreign adversaries. Xi Van Fleet, a survivor of Mao's revolution, joins me now. And the report goes on to state the documented facts support recommending a limited fact-finding FARA investigation to clarify the nature of DSA's relationships with Venezuelan and Cuban government-linked entities and its engagement with political environments involving the People's Republic of China. So are foreign adversaries, namely China, actively behind the push towards socialism here in the U.S.?
Yes, absolutely. You see it everywhere. And then the recent thing is what's trending is called China Maxing.
This lady is my favorite. She hates me. This lady is like, I survived the Cultural Revolution. You know what's just like the Great Leap Forward? Columbia University. like I love these sorts of people that come in and they're just like, yeah, whatever current thing that's like frustrating, I don't know, 75-year-old boomers in Iowa is exactly what it was like in the Chinese countryside. Yeonmi Park does this with the DPRK, obviously, as you guys know. This is my favorite person. Like, I love her. This is my favorite contributor to Fox News. She routinely talks about me as well. She's the best. She is the best. Let's see what she has to say.
Even though it's basically, you see it on the TikTok, but I also see it on X. And that is absolutely bears the hallmark of CCP's publicity department and United Front.
Yeah, survivor of Mao's revolution is so funny. Yeah, you ain't unique. There are 1.4 billion Chinese that also, quote unquote, survived Mao's cultural revolution. Okay, it's not exactly a unique predicament. It's the most populous nation on the planet. What are you talking about? Oh, it's so awesome. Yeah, you know who else survived? Xi Jinping. like this is what a lot of people can't comprehend, where they're like, oh, well, you know, people were being sent to the countryside. People were being punished vehemently. Okay, you know who else also got punished vehemently and even like got kicked out a couple times? Deng Xiaoping. Okay, you know who else got punished? Xi Jinping. So you ain't special. Do you think she's an op? Oh, no, she is an op. Yes, she's a major op.
Work department operations. The first one is about propaganda. The second one is about influence. And
it's pretty funny to say this also about China in general, because they are, in my opinion, far too disinterested in doing soft power. I mean, that's changing a little bit, but like up until this moment, they straight up were like, no, we're just going to sell to our own market. Like, we have a massive consumer base in China. We're just going to make cultural works that only Chinese people will consume, which I think is a massive mistake, because soft power is the name of the game. America's cultural dominance, America's hegemonic superpower status, in large part is due to the cultural imperialism, the soft power that comes from Hollywood, right? China doesn't do that. At most, they've done, Confucius Institutes, and I guess like, what is it called? Nezha 2 and Black Myth Wukong. Korea has K-pop, Japan has anime, Japan has manga. They have a lot more movies and shit like that. These things matter. These things actually play a big role. They also, I guess China did the Labubu thing too, but
influence work is something that CCP is expert of. They will capture the elite. In this case, they capture a lot of the influencers in social media, especially in TikTok. And most of the people who are influenced have no idea that they are the target. And some, of course, they do because they get paid handsomely. And one of the examples is Hassan Piker. He went to China for 2 weeks and come back a Chinese, now leading the China magazine on the social media.
Yes. Hey. Michael from Pennsylvania. Notice how she said I'm Chinese now? Oh, look at me. I'm Michael from Beijing. No, you're not. Hey, yo, did you hear that? Let's run that back. She said I'm Chinese. Let's go.
And most of the people who are influenced have no idea that they are the target. And some, of course, they do because they get paid handsomely. And one of the examples is Hassan Piker. He went to China for 2 weeks and come back a Chinese, now leading the China magazine on the social media. But there is a more important question to ask. Why the Chinese influence be able to capture the American audience, the young people especially? And I think it is really because of the educational system.
I think you're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
But you mentioned China maxing, and you kind of given a little detail on it. I want to explain a little bit more to the audience of what China maxing is. You mentioned it's on TikTok. It's the newest craze. And basically, it's young Americans romanticizing and glamorizing living in communist China. Quote, China maxing isn't just a lifestyle trend. Many of the young influencers praising Chinese culture are actively denigrating America. They're aesthetically, morally, and politically defecting to another superpower. And she, as somebody who lived and fled the Mao Revolution, what's your message to those who romanticize communism, especially young Americans who grew up here with every advantage in the world, now saying, I want to live under communist rule? What's your message to them, Xi?
Yeah, my message is you have to learn history. We have to teach our children real history. And this, I watched a few podcasts about this topic. They say, Chinese people and we are the same people. It is cool to learn their culture. It's not cool. Chinese people are different from American people. Chinese people are not free. And this is something that we have to teach our young kids. And this is so not funny. About learning another culture. This is about...
Bro, she's so funny. She's literally like... She's like, Chinese people are different. Chinese people are different. It's like, okay, well, you're Chinese. Like, what do you mean? It's not cool to learn Chinese culture? Oh, God, I got so much Chinese shit, dude. It's crazy. I always keep that motherfucking thing on me, too. Speaking of Chinese state materials that are inherently anti-imperialist in nature, that exclusively and specifically talk about uplifting the third world, uplifting countries that have been dominated by colonialism and imperialism. Here is one of those works. So something to consider, something to talk about. I worked at a tattoo shop that was owned by a Chinese national who felt exactly the same way as this lady. Yeah, there's many such cases, many such instances. I don't personally care. Who cares? Who cares? whatever, let them chirp. As conditions deteriorate in the United States of America and it becomes unavoidable, the American condition becomes an unavoidable reality. As the trajectory of the Chinese development becomes glaringly obvious, you think they're going to be able to hide it? Also, where's your governance of China by Xi Jinping? Fake glaze. Oh, God, keep chirping, keep chirping. Central Committee. More like free market capitalism. That's what you should change your name to, honestly. Laissez-faire. Michael from Pennsylvania, not Beijing. For years, I was the only glazer. You're a latecomer. That's a crazy statement to make because I just went through how I was glazing the all the way back in like 2019 or 2018. I was glazing the Chinese, the communist fashion brand. Talking about how I wanted it. But yeah, here's the problem, okay? You want to know something? I happen to believe that Pizza Hut did play a role in the fall of the USSR. Let's keep it a $1.50. And I think the reverse of that is going to inevitably happen with the dynamic between China and the United States of America. People wanted the blue jeans, okay? This is not just a thing that you hear from your parents. Like, people were craving the commodities, okay? In the USSR, people wanted the treats. And unfortunately, the USSR's anti-treatlerite principles partially led to its demise, okay? But the reality of the matter is the abundance of goods that were readily available to all people in the United States of America, as opposed to like how things looked like in the USSR, especially post-80s or, post-70s and 80s, I think also accelerated the USSR's demise. Dog, they literally voted to keep the USSR intact, though people can crave commodities. That doesn't mean it caused the USSR's fall, which was illegal and undemocratic. All of those things are correct, and yet you are utterly coping if you think that there wasn't a real... I mean, people revolted over not getting coffee, okay? This is a real problem. I think it's silly to assume that you're taking it's silly to act like you're taking a principled stance here, to not actually recognize some of the failures. It's like there's excesses, there's failures. This is one of those issues. Now, we can talk about why it was virtually impossible to deliver treats readily available to all. We can talk about what the industrial focus looked like in the USSR, and perhaps there should have been maybe a little bit more of a focus on developing commodities rather than just like industrial production of steel and military. But the reality of the matter is you got to give people treats. My point was that the abundance of treats in the United States of America, as opposed to the Soviet bloc, definitely was agitating people for sure. People are stupid. People are silly. People don't always have an ideological commitment to a better future and want to like go through the process of development, go through the process of collectivization and all the pain that comes along with it. There is one country, however, that actually came out on the other side of that, and that country is China. The reason why I'm talking about that is because China has been able to go through this process and has come out successful on the other side. Because of that reason, now, when you look at the Chinese trajectory, the Chinese state's trajectory, and compare it to the American state's trajectory, it becomes increasingly clear that, one country is going up, one country is developing, one country has a prosperous future, and the other is the exact opposite. So if there was a similar analysis to be made leading to the fall of the USSR, the illegal dissolution of the USSR, if there was analysis to be made there about like what some of the issues were, I think you can make that same analysis now as to why it's virtually impossible, for the American youth to avoid China maxing.
Rejecting our value, our culture, and it is, as you said, romanticized communism.
Like they can keep chirping about the big red menace and all of this stuff. Meanwhile, all of our elites are pedophiles. The cost of living has not been solved at all. It's getting worse and worse for people. There's so much poverty, there's so much death, there's so much destruction all around us. All we know how to deal is lead around the globe. And then people have this expectation that you're supposed to sit there and love what you're experiencing because like the alternative is far scarier. But people have the capacity to see the alternative with their own two eyes, partially as a consequence of the social libertarianism that like Western countries have as far as like free speech, free flow of information. Regardless of the propaganda efforts, people can still see what's going on over there and go, well, that seems pretty good to me. I don't know. Maybe we should try that. That's it. That's all I'm saying. This is the next next anti-communist segment. Be like, former Viet Cong speaks out. That's funny. The reason why my parents hated communism is because they didn't have treats. They were told that the reason they don't have treats, no blue jeans, no rock, is because of communism. It never went deeper than that. When you have a communist state with treats, that kind of propaganda don't work. Well, exactly. That's like a major issue. I think a lot of people don't factor in different ways of governance, because all matter of governance is authoritarian inherently. That's what the government does. It's authority, right? And what a lot of people don't realize is that like treats are a major fucking part of this process. They're a major part of the struggle. If a government actually offers commodities and treats, it gives a sense of comfort and security. A government must offer the diversity of choice, even if it's like fallacious, even if it's not real, even if the choice is actually coming from like 3 fucking producers overall. The very fact that you feel like you have a choice to begin with is what makes people comfortable. These are the things that people have to keep in mind. And I do like that, like, these are the reasons as to why China has been seen in the way that it's being seen currently.